Okay. So welcome everybody to the podcast for another episode. I'm your host, Cadet Master Sergeant Harden, and this is our guest.
Hello, I'm Cadet Major MacDonald. I am the Deputy Commander of Support for this year's encampment. I am from MSgt 99, and I've been in CAP for about 3 or 4 years at this point now.
3 or 4 years. So you're like a cap historical figure at this point, right?
A CAP historical figure. I
Yeah.
think Major Brumley's a bit older than me in that regard.
So I feel like you guys both need your statues at your home squadron,
Yes, giant statues of us, exactly.
have a plaque in memory of Cadet Major MacDonald.
I think that's a little extra.
Oh. So what's your position in this encampment again?
So I'm the Deputy Commander of Support.
Okay. So what does the deputy of a commander of support do exactly?
So I am in charge of managing and helping my OICs do their jobs. Really, I just let them, this is their show. I let them do it. This is each section that they do. I have complete trust in them and I have faith that they can do it. So I'm really just there to give them their tasks and help them along where I'm needed.
So as I was looking through the positions, I see deputy commander of support and deputy commander of operations. And I was like, what's the difference between the two?
Yeah, so the difference between the two is really just I focused more on managing the background. So cadets, when they need water, I'm in charge of making sure that my OIC has everything he needs to get his staff to bring cadets their water jugs so they can have water and not die of dehydration. And operations, they're more in charge of actually everything that cadets see. So Captain O'Gwen is going to be more in the foreground than support is. Her and her staff will be. But that doesn't mean that we are any less important. We are always there and we are always watching and making sure to give you guys the best experience possible.
Yeah.
Staff and basics.
Go support branch,
Exactly.
So how do you ensure that support tasks are completed in a timely manner?
So for me, I make sure that I set my clear deadlines and that they see them. My OICs understand the deadlines. And really at that point, I make sure that I give them my trust. I give my OICs my trust. And I tell them, if you need anything, if you need any help, go ahead and tell me and I will do whatever I can to help you. But this is your show and I have complete faith that you can do it. And they run off and do it because they know that I trust them and they get it done and they get it back to me when I need it. It's just this balance of trust and a relationship that we keep between them to make sure that everything gets done.
So it seems like you have a lot of trust in your officers in command.
I do. I adore them and they all have proven themselves very trustworthy.
So a lot of these people that you're over, do you think that because Mississippi wing is such a close wing that really helps make it easy to do your job, being so close to everyone?
Yes, definitely. I think it helps a lot because when all of my OICs applied, there was only one person on that list who I did not know, and that was Lieutenant Schaefer. And even then, I kind of knew about Lieutenant Schaefer because Lieutenant Schaefer and Captain O'Gwen are good friends. They met at Winter Raptor, Florida's winter encampment last year. So that really helped because I knew what I was working with and I wasn't just handing it out to someone based off their resume. I was handing it off to someone based off of the experiences that I've had with them.
But do you feel like a resume also has a big part?
Oh, definitely. I don't think resumes don't matter. It just made it a lot easier to read through and to, when I saw something on their resume, I could know for a fact that they were following our core values of integrity because I know them. And I know that they wouldn't lie or deceive on their resume. And I know that they have done those things because I've seen them. Major Long, he's the head of logistics, and he came into my squadron when I was like a tech sergeant or maybe like one rank above it. So I've known him for a long time. I've known him since he was a baby cadet, and so I knew he was trustworthy, and I knew that his resume was truthful and that everything that he had done, I'd seen it. So it made it a lot easier. Do resumes matter? Yes, but knowing them in person made it a lot easier for me to make my final decision on my staff.
So would you say that you being in CAP for 4 years definitely helped you like build the relationships to like have the trust in the people that you have today?
Yes, and not just being in CAP for 4 years, but also going to wing events. That is something that really helped, because a lot of these guys, they're not from my squadron. I mean, Long is from my squadron, Major Long, he is from my squadron, and so is Major MacDonald, the head of mess. Obviously, he's from my squadron. And my deputy commander, not my deputy commander, my support executive officer, he is from my squadron as well, Major Ritchie. But Lieutenant Cupstead and Chief Calloway and Lieutenant Schaefer, while Lieutenant Schaefer has never come to a Mississippi Wing event before this, Calloway came to encampment last year, and he was I believe he was a flight sergeant. And Cupstead, I know him thanks to wing events and encampment. I think the first time I met him was at the Great Start Academy, I think, or maybe it was at it was either the Great Start Academy or the Wing Conference, the 2021 or 22 Wing Conference. It was one of those two. And so going to wing events really helped that as well, because I mean, I know basically everyone thanks to going to wing events.
So what qualities do you personally think are the most important for someone in your position to possess?
Ooh, okay, that's a good one. I thought about this a little, but it's like, I think definitely patience and understanding and respect, and a willingness to step below what maybe my position, what normally people looking up at my position think I would be doing. You know, people looking up would think, oh, well, she's the deputy commander of support. She's not supposed to get down and do paperwork, or she's not supposed to get down and help public affairs when needed, or she's not supposed to get down and help make sure that mess staff has all their cooking utensils. No, I am, because I am the leader. I am the head. And ultimately, your success is my success. And not only that, I just want, even if it wasn't, I'd do it anyways, because I want my staff to succeed. My staff, I take that job of being their leader very seriously. In required staff training that all the staff have been doing, they say that they constantly push down the basics are under our care this week. And when I took on the title of Deputy Commander of Support, my staff, even though I had no idea who they would be, automatically became the most important thing to me about this encampment, because they are why I do this. Staff and basics, everyone below me, everyone beside me is why I do this. I don't do this for fun. I don't like doing paperwork. I don't like doing all that. But I love helping people have a good experience where they can learn and grow. And that's why I do this. And that's why I think patience and understanding and kindness and respect are things that are necessary to have, because of those qualities that I have pushed down and shown to my staff, or at least I hope I've done it to the best of my ability. And I hope that they've realized this. But I believe that has made this whole experience so far so much easier. And it has made me more receptive to their issues, because support staff is hard. It's a lot hard. It is so hard. And having that understanding helps them to not want to give up and to keep going.
From what I can tell, you've been doing an amazing job, because I've interviewed a lot of the people who work under you today, and a lot of what you're saying is similar to like what they've been saying. It's a lot of the people that work under you have like this sense of humility. Even though like there's such high ranks, I've interviewed majors, lieutenants, captains, and whatnot, but they're willing to do stuff that is under their rank because they enjoy it and they want to have the cadets have their best experience. And that's a trait that is going to raise so many great leaders from Mississippi Wing.
Good. I'm so glad that my staff is exemplifying that trait in these interviews. I know they have them. I have talked to them enough times to know that they have that trait. And I am so glad that they are exemplifying that in these interviews, because there is no reason for us to think we're high and mighty just because we're majors or captains or lieutenants. We're cadets, and we're all in this together, and we're here for each other. And if we're not here for each other, we're going to burn out of camp real quick.
So in the event next year that you don't serve as deputy commander for support, what would be your advice for the next person taking this role?
My advice would be to plan ahead. Expect the unexpected. And when you make your plans, poke so many holes in your plan that you're pretty sure the boat's going to sink because you have no confidence in your plan. Come up with backup plans for the plan. Poke holes in the backup plans. Make backup plans for the backup plans. Step back. And then take a second and look at what you've done. And realize that those backup plans for the backup plans won't work. And you just wasted a bunch of time. But that's okay, because that's how support works. Obviously, we need to have structure, but don't expect your plans to stay together. Don't expect everything to go right, because they won't. That's a big part of encampment, and that's a really big part of support. It's actually why I am under the belief that support staff should be a second-year position and not a first-year position for cadets transitioning from basic to staff. Or as they want to do it from now on, ATS to staff. It is so much less structured than line staff, and we are more likely to fall apart on the schedule side of things and on getting things done. And, there's 15 gazillion things we have to do. I mean, admin, we're on Discord right now, and I'm getting probably over 20 messages a day in that channel, of them discussing different projects that they have, and 20 messages about different projects. They've got one message about filling out this form, and then they've got another message about filling out that form, and then more and more. And they prefer that they do calls, and their calls, I've been watching them. They stay on for hours. And it's the same thing with public affairs. I also have a chat with my public affairs OICs, directors. I have a chat with my directors, and they talk about everything. They bounce ideas back and forth. They communicate because, they're under the same division, but they're working together as a team, and they talk about so many different things. And my logistics team, while they don't have a lot of encampment pre-work, when they get to encampment, they're going to be running with their pants on fire, because there's only 4 of them this year. Yeah. There's the OFC, and then there's three cadre underneath them. And they've got to make sure that everyone got their water. They have to make sure that everyone has their supplies that they need. They got to make sure that nothing gets lost, that when cadets leave, they cleaned it out properly. And if not, they got to inform line staff so basics can go back and clean it back up. It's a whole issue. And they have to go and do that.
What is the part of the encampment that you're looking most forward to this year?
Oh, okay. I got to think about this. Hold on. I think the part that I am looking forward to the most is probably, I could say I could say the orientation flights day that we're having with the military flights, or with our airplanes. I could say the obstacle course day. I could say the virtual battle simulator day. But honestly, I think it's going to be the end of encampment. Not because I want to go home, but because I'm going to be able to look back and see how much my kids have grown. And that is the most rewarding thing that comes from this experience. Looking back and seeing where everyone's come and how far they've come, because during the middle of the week, staff wants to leave encampment just as much as the basics do, because there's a lot of things that the basics don't see that goes on in the background that is stressing staff out. I mean, we get less sleep than the basics. We do more in the background, both line staff and support, and we get really stressed out. And so we want to leave probably like a day or two before the basics are ready to pack their bags and go home. And so looking back at the end and watching them, like being able to see and point with them, look at how far you've come, and watching them realize it wasn't for nothing. They've grown and they've changed and they're stronger now than ever before in their cap life. That's what I think is really going to be exciting to me. But I am also really excited for the military O flights. Last year, I got on I think it was the C-17. I was about to puke, and one of the military officers on there took a cup of freezing cold water and poured it right down my back. So I am ready for those O flights again. It was really funny.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you so much for your time, everybody. That is Cadet Deputy Commander for Support MacDonald. Thank you.